the title itself says that there is a lot of things to learn and earn from the topic which we are going to discuss, which is discovering opportunities under cloud of disruption. And to walk us through this exciting thought, we have three eminent speakers with us, and I'm honored and I feel privileged to introduce all these esteemed speakers and panelists to all of you. So we have with us Mr. Veerramani, no stranger to the IDMA world and the pharma world. He is founder and chairman of Fourrts Laboratories Private Limited. More than 40 years of extensive work and contribution to the industry. He has not only put the Fourrts for company as an organization, but he has contributed a lot significantly in various areas. He has been chairman of Tamil Nadu Pharmaceutical Science Welfare and a national president of IDMA during 2014 and 2016. During his illustrious career spanning over 40 years, Mr. Veerramani has received various awards. So he has been recognized as Industry Crusader Award, IPA Fellowship Award, Lifetime Achievement Award, Vocational Service Leadership Award, and Mentoring Citation by Rotary. Mr. Veerramani has successfully led his organization, that is Fourrts Laboratories, to various recognitions. Key to note are 10 IDMA Quality Excellence Awards during the period 86 to 2018, the Healers Award for Excellence in Healthcare from FICCI and Government of Tamil Nadu, and 3 Outstanding Export Performance Awards. Mr. Veerramani also is a keen contributor to the society. Along with Rotary, he has put a Rotary Fourrts Medical Center, and that center is treating 500 patients on an average every day. So that is Mr. Veerramani for you. So Mr. Sudarshan Jain, he is Secretary General of Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance, former MD of Abbott Healthcare, more than 35 years in the industry. And his footprint today in the industry is seen across all walks of life on pharma industry, whether it is strategy formulation, working with government agencies, working with various industry bodies, and whatnot. So anywhere you see Mr. Sudarshan Jain has made his contribution. He has led about 30 brands out of the top 300 brands in the Indian industry, which is about 10% of the top 300 brands. He has received numerous recognitions and rewards for contribution within the company, in the academic institutions and industry association. He has also served as a vice president of OPPI, which represents research-based pharmaceutical companies. Currently is member of board of Indian Institute of Health Management Research, Jaipur, member of the advisory board of Narsimhanji Institute of Mumbai, board member of Indian Education Society. Apart from his professional credentials, he is also a teacher at his heart, and therefore he is involved into teaching and building careers in the industry. He is a science graduate in physics from St. Stephens and an IIM grad for his education credentials. Next, I take the pleasure of introducing Shri KG Ananthakrishnan sir, who is Director General, Organization of Pharmaceutical Producers of India, OPPI. He is recognized in the industry for his rich and diverse experience. Mr. Ananthakrishnan continues to mentor healthcare startups and is on the advisory panel of an academic institution, along with being a board member and advisor of other organizations. Prior to OPPI, Mr. Ananthakrishnan was former Vice President and Managing Director, South Asia Region, MSD, India, and previously was associated with organizations like Pfizer, Pharmacia, and Novartis. He has completed an executive development program for Wharton, and he has also masters in marketing from Jamnalal Bajaj Institute. So thank you, sir, for being with us and walking us through with a very exciting topic of great interest, discovering opportunities under cloud of disruption. And Mr. Srihari Shide will help us navigate through this very exciting topic.
Thanks, Vinay. Thanks for introduction of all the panel members who are stalwarts of the industry. So welcome, Mr. Veerramani, welcome, Mr. Jain, and welcome, Mr. Ananthakrishnan on this Saturday afternoon. I think we have been hearing about across the industries, across healthcare sector, all the industries, we have been hearing about a lot of negative news and disruption with the COVID. But I think there are also several opportunities under the clouds of the COVID, or the silver lining, whatever we want to call it as. Those opportunities could be in terms of the new growth markets, new products, new categories. Those opportunities could be in terms of looking at some of the processes and changing them permanently. So there are definitely several different opportunities which probably are lying for all of us to look at. And without taking much time, I would like to jump to the first question and request Mr. Veerramani, saying that since there are so much of disruption happening with COVID, how do you see the situation from a positivity perspective? What are the positives one can look at it in the healthcare industry with COVID, and how can we really benefit out of it? And especially in the context of small to medium organizations, if you can address this question, then that will be great help to all the audience. So over to you, Mr. Veerramani.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mr. Veerramani. Yeah, please. Yeah, Mr. Veerramani, we can hear you. Please.
Yeah, now, yeah. Are you able to hear me now? Yeah.
Yes. Very well. Yeah. Please.
Sorry, it got disrupted. Yeah. So, sorry, I missed out because it was disrupted.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, there was a poor connection. Okay. So I think what I was asking is, given the disruption that we see with COVID and the negativity that we see with the COVID, but at the same time, there are a lot of positives probably are possible. There are a lot of possibilities and positive, opportunities that one can look up to. And what are those opportunities could be? If you can talk about them, if you elaborate on them, and with a special context of small and medium-sized organizations, because that would be of great interest to the audience.
Sure. First, I would like to thank you and Expand Consulting for giving me this session, along with the stalwarts like Sudarshan, Jain, and Mr.KG, Ananthakrishnan sir, for whom I got great regard. Now, with respect to the COVID has, when it has thrown challenges, at the same time, it has given an opportunity to rethink our strategy and also for positioning. Now, immediately, there is an opportunity to sell COVID-related products. Like, there's a spurt already in the requirement of immune boosters, nutraceuticals, increasing requirement of antiviral drugs, anti-inflammatory drugs, blood thinners, repurposed drugs, etc. Also, some of the SMEs also doing some hand sanitizers and all that. COVID also is teaching us on how to carry on business without much business interaction, and the great need for digital marketing. There's a need for a rethinking on promotional ideas, new styles in marketing and sales. There is a need to combine both physical and digital marketing, and also there's a need also for focused messages to the customer, considering that there's reduced attention time. And I would say that COVID as a time has given opportunity for consolidation and brand building now, instead of proliferation and all. Also need for better key accounts management, considering that we are not able to meet many doctors now. So with respect to digital marketing, there are also more webinars than ever before in the pharmaceutical industry. One advantage of this is that we are able to reach a higher number of doctors at a lower cost through the webinars and all. And with the reduced travel and meeting expenses, besides expenses, reduced expenses on sample, no sample of course, and CRM, CMEs, hotel and all. So there's a very good saving of costs because of this particular scenario. The field hierarchies are also can be flattened with reduction in manpower and the expenses is possibility. COVID has opened the opportunity to tap the potential of the retailers. Even under the extreme lockdown, the retail chemists were always allowed to open. The importance of retailers have gone up. They provide an opportunity to sell OTC and OTX products. A recent study from Apollo Hospital has shown that the income of Apollo Hospital from pharmacies have gone up by 129%, whereas the income from hospitals and clinics have come down. So there is a shift probably from detailing to retailing now. Apart from the retail chemists, Now there's a resurgence of, e-pharmacies. The opportunities need to be exploited. In short, I would like to say, need to understand that COVID has come to grow our potential. And in the post-COVID era, we will not go back 360 degrees back to the old normal. There will be many learnings will remain with us in the new normal. This is what I would like to submit here.
Thank you, Mr. Veerramani. Very important point. So you talked about both the sides. On the growth side, what are the possibilities, and at the same time, on the cost management side or cost reduction, cost management, whatever word we use it, but there are also possibilities, and both can be explored. Shall be looked at it by every organization. The other question, which is very related, is also about the manufacturing setup. Yeah. So some of the organizations, they have sort of end-to-end setup whereby they undertake manufacturing, sourcing, supply chain, and then sales and marketing. Some organizations, they only some part of the value chain, and so on and so forth. So how do you see with the COVID situation or post-COVID, how this would evolve in terms of the manufacturing? What kind of decisions organizations would be making, or looking at or evaluating once again, especially again small to medium-sized organizations?
At this point of time, there is not enough time for us to make changes. I think there should not be any change. If I am in the end-to-end, I must continue. Or if I am doing some outsourcing and then marketing, I have to continue. Because the problem is there is a lot of time lag. Suppose I want to make a change to outsource my product, then I'll have to go for licensing, do the do the artwork. All those things are there. Time is running. So at this point of time, I would say that we should not make any change with respect to our style of functioning at that time, but to keep costs low. Don't have any expansion and all that. We have to float. We have to see that there is enough cash available, and cut down on the overhead expenses and keep floating in the market. That is the best way to go about at this point of time.
Yeah, I think very succinctly put, Mr. Veerramani. So essentially, what you're saying is that this is very short duration in which significant manufacturing changes to happen. That may not happen over a period of time. Yes. People, the organizations, they might look at it, but there are, of course, one would look at the expansion a little carefully. One would try and hold today's position. I think cash is the king, and I think everyone would try and preserve that at least for coming few months. And then as the situation improvises, maybe people can start looking at once again the opportunities of expansion of the business. Yeah, so I think very valid points and valid observations. And yes, none of us we have 100% clarity about how future will evolve. But I think your insights, your thinking definitely gives a sense of direction for several of us who are attending this webinar. So thanks for your comments, Mr. Veerramani, and once again thanks for joining.
Sure.
I'm moving to the next. I'm moving to the next question to Mr. Jain. And Mr. Jain, India is supposed to be the pharmacy of the world. Yeah, so there is a data that talks about what percentage of global medicines are supplied by the Indian pharmaceutical players. So with the COVID now, while there are several disruptions in the supply chain and global disruptions, how do you sort of look at it as a turnaround and say that there are A, B, C, D kind of opportunities available for the Indian pharmaceutical industry given the situation and given our special position as the pharmacy of the world?
Thank you very much, Shihari. And let me at the outset congratulate Next Plan and AVEX, Amish, for outstanding presentation and outstanding work which you are doing in a very difficult time. Congratulations, Next Plan, and congratulations, Amish. I would also like to thank Mahesh Bhai and my friend and everyone, particularly we have got Veerramani and KG who are part of this, and Vaidya Saab who is there. So very thank you for inviting me for this. Now I'll go and let me also congratulate all the participants who are making a fundamental difference to the Indian industry at this particular moment at a very difficult time. Every crisis is an opportunity, and I will say that India has taken definite advantage of this crisis. And rightly, Prime Minister called that Indian industry is asset globally, not only to India. Every third tablet today in US is sold from India. Every fourth tablet in in Europe is sold from here. 60% of HIV and vaccine is from India, and we supply to 205 countries around the world. So India is really pharmacy of the world. There are 5 areas. I will just summarize because the time is very short. First is there is an opportunity in SOP process because this process of COVID leads to demand shock, supply shock, and cash shock. And how do you integrate these 3 processes? And according to me, we have got IDMA and we have got OPPI and we have got IPA. All 3 associations work together with the government. And Mahesh Bhai and KG talked about this, that we made sure that all the products are available and we are able to meet the supply. And internally also, all the organizations, everyone was working, whether it's the demand side, supply side, and finance side. And if I see first quarter results of many of the companies, despite sales being under pressure, overall profits have been there. Second question, which is that the repurposed drug. India has played a very important role. Already it was talked in the introductory lecture by everyone that India has been the supplier of remdesivir. We are supplying, Dr. Reddy is going to supply to 126 countries around the world. Favipiravir is there. And hydroxychloroquine, HCQ, we got the opportunity to supply. So second is that area. Third area is the health textiles, which is a new segment which has appeared. Whether it is PPEs, whether it is ventilators, whether it is masks, and whether it is gloves. India has done a tremendous job, and that is the industry which was not there, which evolved, and there have been a lot of innovation, and maybe perhaps in the second part of the thing, which I will talk, that the innovations have been the part as far as the whole thing is concerned. So health textiles is a new segment. I didn't realize it. I've been studying it. That's a new area which has emerged. Fourth is the clinical trials. The kind of work which is being done in the clinical trials, vaccines and other areas today. Serum Institute collaborating with Oxford. And many of the clinical trial organizations like Syngene and others, we will become the clinical trial which went into doldrums, will pick up as far as the whole thing is concerned. And the last, which is very, very important, marketing innovations. We'll see a lot of marketing innovations. It is the beginning. According to me, a lot has to happen. Next plan. And Amish can play a very, very important role. And that is the future innovation. So at this stage, I'd like to thank Tara. I can see Mr. Vaidya. They have been all seniors, Veerramani Saab and Mahesh Saab, and also Deepnath Chaudhary, who is there, and Chakravarti ji, who is there. Thank you very much. And I stop here.
Thanks, Mr. Jain. I think this is a wonderful opportunity that you mentioned. So in addition to what we already know, I think the healthcare textiles is a very, very, very different segment that you talked about. Very interesting. So given that there are opportunities and also there are players who are large, medium, small players, and variety of players in the Indian pharma industry or Indian healthcare industry. Anything specific insight or any specific area that you would like to comment, especially when it comes to small and medium sector organizations, because again that will be of interest to the audience who is attending this webinar. So any contextual reference to that would be helpful.
So I will give four examples, and again I enjoy some of the entrepreneurs, small scale enterprise. One is the Kaplan Point. I am enjoying that company. Private equity investments have come in. They have been manufacturers of manufacturing at low cost destination and trying to find markets where the competition is not there. So in this kind of situation, if there is a differentiation and focus, you make the difference. So Kaplan Point is making a difference in the export markets. You are trying to conquer new territories and you are making difference in the cost. Second is there are a lot of companies which are making difference in the innovation as far as health textiles is concerned. Like say there are companies which have company like Healthium, where I'm invested in, is gloves with a disinfectant. So you are looking at the differentiation in the product. Health non-alcoholic sanitizers. So there is a lot of innovation which is taking place in coming out with a value proposition which is differentiating, and a lot will happen. And small scale new entrepreneurs will make a lot of difference as far as that area is concerned. There is a lot of areas which are immune boosters, Ayush products, and many of the small scale industries, they have done a lot of work. And I keep on talking to Ayush guys. They are trying to find out products which can increase immunity and trying to find the product range as far as the whole thing is concerned. And the last is delivery points. Today, how do you deliver the products and services? And there are a lot of products and services which have come in that area. So focus and differentiation will be the name of the game as far as small scale sector is concerned. I'll stop here.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Jain. I think wonderful points that you have made and wonderful opportunities. And I'm sure that some of the entrepreneurs, those are sitting in this forum, they are taking a note of it, and I'm sure they already would have taken note of it, some of them. And these are the opportunities of innovation going forward for the Indian pharma, Indian healthcare sector. Now, since Mr. Jain, you talked about the products, the manufacturing side, whether they are pharmaceuticals, other healthcare, or even pharmaceutical or healthcare textiles. So the focus of our conversation has been on the products, the physical products. So my next question, coming to the other side, to Mr. Ananthakrishnan, is about the services side. So our Indian industry was always, maybe because of the cost arbitrage, we had certain advantage on the services side. So whether they are R&D, clinical trials, or variety of services, back-end services, we had certain advantage. So my question to you, Mr. Ananthakrishnan, with the COVID scenario developing globally, do we see that India having higher opportunities or potentially higher share of some of those service sectors which are related to the healthcare? What is your thinking on those lines, Mr. Ananthakrishnan?
Thanks, Shriyari. At the outset, thanks to IDMA and Nextplan for inviting me to this particular meeting. Thanks to my fellow, panelists, Sir Veerramani sir, Sudarshan, and several other distinguished members who are there. My sincere thanks, and nice to meet you all. It's a good question that you asked, Shriyari. Cost arbitrage, whether it is COVID or non-COVID, is always an advantage, because global and every industry always looks at cost arbitrage in order to improve its own profits and balance sheets. I mean, that's a given thing. The question that you are asking is that whether in the COVID circumstance it will go up. I would tread with a little bit of caution. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this. See, today, if you look at it, most of the multinational pharma companies, at least the large ones, they already have, quite a few setups in India. You know of Novartis having a very big setup, in Hyderabad. Novo Nordisk does something, MSD something, Pfizer does something. So each of the companies are using, different type of opportunities to get the cost arbitrage, but more importantly is to ensure that you get a quality service, you get a cost advantage, you have speed of delivery, and you have reliability. See, the most important, what we have also realized is that in the COVID era, if you look at it, organizations that were providing this type of services, out of India, those that have really been able to sustain high quality service with the right speed, with the reliability and the cost, advantage, have really done well. And I do foresee that there is a potential possibility that, given in the worst of the situation, if an organization has given such a type of, service delivery, it is potentially possible that such organization will get more of the global business coming into India. And these span several areas, whether it is in IT, whether it is in clinical research. I think Mr. Sudarshan Jain alluded to that very well. Clinical research is one huge area. Unfortunately, this industry was doing extremely well till we ran into certain regulatory challenges and the industry went off the radar. But there is a potential possibility now with the newer regulations that are coming in, that clinical trial industry can really come up, and that can become a real good opportunity for the Indian players. So there are two parts to it. One is the clinical research per se. The other part is the clinical analytics. There's a lot of high-end research analytics that is happening out of India, and I think that will continue. And so long as we are able to give, as I said earlier, cost, quality, reliability, advantage. If you look at what has happened over the period of time, Shriyari, is that we were actually earlier more of a BPO model, transactional types of stuff that we were doing earlier. But I think in India, it has moved away from that to really the knowledge process outsourcing, as you call it now, because many of the work that is being done in India is very high knowledge, requirement. Like, for example, products which are in advanced stages of research all over the world, the data analytics is done out of India. forecasting for global forecasting is done out of India. Okay, a lot of supply chain analytics is done out of India. So that's the type of capability that we have already built in over here. If we further strengthen these particular areas, and if we are able to showcase our capability with the cost arbitrage, I don't find any reason why it will not do even better in the post-COVID era. And again, I want to emphasize, those who did well during the COVID era are going to stand an advantage because they will get more business coming their way because of their reliability.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ananthakrishnan. I think very aptly said. So there is a significant opportunity, but cost, quality, and reliability or sustainability, they matter a lot. So I think we will have to continue to focus on those factors if we were to become a sort of supporting the global supply chain and other things and also service provider situation. My another question, which was linked more from the Indian market perspective, because you're veteran of the Indian pharma industry, and so my question was, since all of us were adopting technology with now COVID, like in the beginning, Mr. Doshi mentioned that this would have been a seminar rather than a webinar. Yeah, so all of us we are used to the now handling technology in our spheres of life. How do you see going forward technology can impact, or how a small or medium-sized organizations also should adopt technology, whether for their internal processes or whether accessing to the customers, reaching to the customers? So what could be more innovative model, different models that can be thought of, and how technology can be used?
Yeah. I think Mahesh Bhai did very nicely cover in his introductory remarks about the technological tectonic shift that is happening. And it is not something, unfortunately, I think pharma industry has been a late adopter in this. Many other industry adopted technology much earlier. And I'll tell you a small experience that I had. And that will tell you how technology has really deeply penetrated, I was visiting some of the remote corners of Tamil Nadu, actually visiting some farms and villages, because I had some interest in the agriculture part. So I was visiting them, and I found that every farmer, even a small farmer, I'm not talking of even a mid-size or the big farmer, even a small farmer who is actually plowing the field, everybody is having a mobile phone in his pocket, and they are all smartphones. They are all smartphones. So the inquisitiveness that came to me was, I asked these people that, why are you carrying this? This is to call your family, to talk about your welfare, or to watch movies, because Tamil Nadu also is known for good movies, so is it for watching movies or songs? Let me tell you, the answer what these farmers gave me literally threw me off my seat, because they said, sir, that is a small part of it. The major part why we are using this mobile phone is that when I'm farming, suppose I've grown tomato, and if this tomato, the color of the tomato is not well, the leaves are becoming brown or something like that, I take a photograph of that particular plant, I send it to the Agricultural University in Coimbatore. In about 45 minutes to 2 hours time frame, I get a response from the Agricultural University, what I must be doing, what pesticide I must use, what chemicals I must use, what nutrients I must use, is provided to me almost on a real-time basis. So, you know what, if a farmer is able to utilize the technology, and we call them illiterate, honestly, they are very literate. They are not illiterate, they are very literate. If that is what is the situation, just imagine we are in the healthcare sector, we are dealing with doctors, we are dealing with pharmacists, which are, relatively we consider as much more evolved. So use of technology can be really taken to the hilt. We really need to move and up in this particular game. And in my opinion, this will bring in a lot of efficiency and effectiveness as well as we move forward. I'll also tell you one more. It is not only just the technology alone, that's going to help. It is important that we use, along with this, data analytics, data science, and data engineering, so that you are able to club and quantify, to some extent, I'm picking from what Amish said, data coupled with a good marketing and use of technology can give the biggest bang for money, which I am sure next plan will be the experts to roll it out, to all the customers. There is a huge, huge opportunity over there. I'll give you one other example. I am actually also, mentoring a startup which is into big data analytics, particularly in the healthcare space. They collect data of literally 3 crore patients across coming in. And and these are all, of course, unidentified data, so no privacy laws are being violated. When you look at this particular data and then you slice and dice it, with that data, you can know at a brick level, what is the type of disease pattern that is there in a particular area, what type of diagnosis is happening, what type of treatments are being given, what type of, modalities are being followed, is something that is, feasible today. Just imagine, as a marketer, if I have that data, okay, as a marketer, and as well as a government, if I have data, look at the beauty of it. If I have to focus my attention, let's assume theoretically in a city like Bombay, I realized that, COVID is maximum in a particular area. I don't want to name any area, but area B, relative to the other areas. At least people who are marketing things, whether it is products or services to COVID, can probably concentrate their efforts over there, which will serve 2 purposes. One, it has a good marketing impact. Number 2, you are doing a good social purpose because you are reaching the products and service to the location that needs it the most. So it can happen in other places for a dengue or a diabetes or whatever it is. These type of data analytics using technology can be of very good power. Look at other advantage that this can bring in. The remotest corner of the country today has mobile technology available. And there is probably a good general physician over there. They do not have the access to specialist, therapy. Just by linking, using technology, you can today, what you are talking of as telemedicine, which is going to be path breaking, you are able to provide that gentleman who is sitting in a remote corner of this particular country in Assam or in Jammu and Kashmir, you are able to provide him best of the treatment through a telemedicine. Okay, you are able to get a good consultant, consult with him, give him a good prescription, get to a pharmacy, get it, done, and then you get the benefit of it. These are things which are unheard of. Probably 6 months back, we were all reluctant with telemedicine. We were not very, comfortable with it. Today, in fact, it is the other way around. If a doctor is saying, come to the clinic, you are asking the doctor, sir, do you have a telemedicine option? Because you are worried whether you have a problem with COVID and you would like to go for a telemedicine option. These type of technological tectonic shifts that are happening, I think it is important that we make the best use of it. What is also simultaneously happening, and I will very quickly close it, is that, recently when there was a study that was done, patients, the doctors were asked, how would your behavior be post-COVID? And these are some of the interesting things that has come up. Physicians said that remote wearing tools like wearables, sensor devices, which allow patient vital measurements will really go up. We will recommend that to the patients to wear because this telehealth is going to continue. Clinical decision support tools driven by AI will go up significantly. They said remote self-learning. 43% of the doctors said even post-COVID, remote self-learning will become a norm for me in my life. Remote learning for nurses and other staff. 47% of the doctors said that I'm going to use remote thing for training my staff. Telemedicine consultation, particularly for mental health and behavioral problems, they said it will go up by 58%, continue even post-COVID era. Telemedicine for physical health, 56%. Video conferencing for professional use, 48% of the doctors say that they'll continue to. These are not small percentages. So you can just see the type of behavioral shift, consumer shift that's going to happen. And hence, as an industry, whether it is small, medium, big, I think we need to prepare ourselves so that we are ready to take this opportunity to convert them into a wonderful marketing solution for our organizations. Okay, these are a couple of things that I thought I'll share. Sorry for taking a longer time, but thank you so much.
Thanks, Mr.
Very nice.
Ananthakrishnan. It was really very, very nice. And actually, all three of you, Mr. Veerramani, Mr. Jain, and Mr. Ananthakrishnan, thanks for bringing really new perspectives to the table. Because otherwise, last one quarter has been always, with a lot of gloomy picture about COVID and what is negativity about the COVID. But I think each one of you, in one way or other, you have articulated that what are the potential positivities, whether there are new sectors, new product lines, new markets, and so on and so forth. And I think what you talked about is a completely new way of looking at the business or doing the things, Mr. Ananthakrishnan. So there are new ways of doing things, and COVID, in a way, as an external factor, is pushing all of us to the boundaries to look for these kind of solutions which we had not thought about in the past. So there is much talk about digital transformation, but I think someone said very nicely, saying digital transformation is less about digital, more about transformation. So it is actually our minds, our human minds. If we can conceive and think about what can be done out of it, then hundreds of more things can be done. So I think there is opportunity below the clouds or disruptive clouds of COVID, as we have been talking about.